Hello and welcome to the channel. On this channel, we talk about studying, working, and living here in the UK. If you're interested in topics around studying, working, and living here in the UK, subscribe to the channel and join the community. Now, today's video is a very special video. I have a very special guest today, all the way from America. We have a very
Mm.
special guest today. So my
Hey.
curiosity got me to this point or to make this video. So basically, before I chose my study destination, right, I actually considered a lot of countries. Like I considered America, Canada. I did Canada. Canada did not give me visa. So I considered America, Canada, UK. I even went as far as Australia. Story for another day. But I mean, I had a whole lot of things on my list that I wanted my study destination to meet. So that would suit my personal circumstances. And UK just was it for me. Now, I'll just be wondering, okay, what was it like to study in America? So today I have Esther here. So me and Esther are going to talk about studying in America and studying in the UK. So she'll tell us how studying America has been for her and why she chose America as our study destination. And I would also like share my own part of why I chose to study here in the UK. So if you're trying to decide between America and UK, at least we're not experts, please. This is just our own thoughts and from our personal experience. So we'll just share our thoughts on studying in the UK and studying in America. And then at the end of the video, we'll let you guys know if we're to do this all over again, which country would we pick. So stay to the end of this video to like know which country we would pick after we realize the advantages and disadvantages of our study destination. Please, guys, remember when choosing a study destination, you have to consider your personal circumstances. Anyway, so I'll let Esther introduce herself. Enough of me talking. So, Esther, tell us about you, your channel.
Hmm.
Yeah, you have the
Okay.
so
All right, everyone. Thank you for inviting me to your channel. It's really nice to be here.
yes.
So, my name is Esther. Some people call me Shiju, so like that's why you see that my channel's name is Shiju's Chronicles. I also talk about studying abroad, more specifically in the US, because that's what I've experienced in. But similar to one day as well, I kind of looked at different countries before deciding to study in the US. However, I had a lot of motivating factors. So that's why I ultimately chose the US. But we'll get into that later. Yeah, that's just a little bit about me. I did my master's in the US. I've graduated already and I currently work in the US as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, so that's Esther's background. So, guys, please put this at the back of your mind. Your personal circumstances differ. So, we'll tell you why we really, really, really chose our study destination, and we'll tell you at the end of the video if we're to decide all over again
Mm,
which we would pick from what we know now. Because I mean, I've lived in the UK since 2018. Since when have you lived in the US?
2019, if I remember correctly.
So now we've lived in this country for like 4 to 3 years.
Yeah.
So at least we have some little one or two things to
Yeah.
like say. So the first point we would like to talk about, because we actually selected like 14 points
Mm,
thereabout. So the first one we'll talk about is the quality of education. So I'll go first. In the UK, I know that we have good universities. I mean, some of UK's universities are top on different university charts like ranking. But I know that the US is like the king of kings of university because I mean
mhm.
you have MIT, Stanford, and all those top universities. I think MIT is like the number one university in the world, and it's in the US. But however, the UK also have good universities. I mean, we have Oxford, Cambridge, UCL, Imperial, Lancaster, Bristol, a whole lot
Okay.
of good universities, apart from top charting universities now. So let's boil it down to our own personal experience. So for me, during my master's in Lancaster, so for those of you who don't know, Lancaster is like number 10 when I was in Lancaster. So it's like one of the best universities here in the UK. Now in Lancaster, our curriculums were updated. Like We will be talking about things that were literally in the newspaper like yesterday in class today. And we had free Wi-Fi on campus. Our libraries were well equipped libraries. Facility was top notch, like top notch facilities. One of my professors was actually a pioneer of work organization and technology. So more like organizational change, technology, and work. If you're writing a paper and you've not mentioned that man, you've not started writing your paper because he literally is the pioneer of that topic. So yeah, we had top quality lecturers, and again, we didn't have like say they have in the US where you can choose your courses. No, your courses are already selected for you. And one thing again is you cannot just change your course of study. Once you start that course of study, that's it. Once your class has been issued to you, that's it. You cannot like change it. And one thing is that my university actually looks good on my CV. I mean, I went to Lancaster, so it looks good on my CV. That's just my brag, my one thing to add to my brag list, but it looks good on my CV. So so that's it for quality education. Like the education is good because I mean that's your number one aim for coming to study abroad, quality of education. So that's what I can say about the UK. So how is it like in the US?
Yeah, I mean, so you kind of already touched a bit on that in terms of like, top ranking institution. The US actually has a lot of top ranking institution. On any ranking website, like because we have different websites that rank differently, right? But at the
Yes.
same time, the UK, I said UK, see, you put UK in my mouth. The US has a lot of top ranking institution, and I think that was, I don't know if personally when I was looking for schools, right, I kind of fully considered the top ranking institution. My focus was on like my program of study, taking a look at the curriculum. I think one thing that stood out for me in terms of like the US quality of education was like there were a lot of support services in place for students to utilize, right? Beyond academics, because of course academics very important, but at the same time the totality of an environment kind of like influences your experience as well. So for me, also of course, take a look at the curriculum. What do they have to offer? My courses. So I was interested in studying like higher education, right? And for that particular course, I think it was just at the time I applied, it was just like one university in the UK that offered that program because they were not really into like student affairs yet. And I
Yeah.
kind of wanted a student affairs focus. But in the US, there were so many universities, a lot of conferences, right? So I look beyond just, like I said, like just classroom experience, but also conferences, the opportunity to network. Because even a lot of folks in that school in the UK, they kind of attend conferences in the US after I did a lot of research, reach out to a bunch of people. And that really influenced, my intention to apply to the US. And also in terms of like quality of education, I think just taking a look at the classes, you get feedback from professors when you like literally I turn in assignments and within a week later, I'm already getting feedback like blah blah blah.
Really?
Yeah, like
In the
I
UK,
tell you
you
like
have to wait for like a month before you
that.
get feedback. I kid you not, you have to wait for like a month.
No. I mean
But
some people like take up to like maybe 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks, but I don't think I had to wait up to a month to to
in the
get
US, you have to
feedback.
wait like 3 to 4 weeks to get feedbacks and
Yeah,
to see your score. Yeah, you have to.
interesting.
I think that brings us to the style of education.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I think
great
that brings us to
segue.
style of education. And again, I think one thing with US, you guys spell with Z, and one thing with UK, we spell with S. So we don't use these to spell as S. And again, when we want to spell something like honor, so honor here will be spelled Honor.
Mm-hmm.
So I know for US, you guys will remove the U and spell it
We were special,
Honor.
We like to be distinct and different.
I think that's another different styles. And again, this usually used to affect your scores when you write essays here in the UK because one, you're in a UK university, they expect you to write in UK style. Now, if you start writing American style, it will actually affect your score because your use of grammar will be weak because you're already spelling American, like in an American style. So I think that's one thing most people do not realize, that the UK actually has its language, like the way they write, and the US have a separate writing system. I think for plagiarism too, in the UK, we have this platform. You always turn it, like you turn it in. So you turn your assignment through turn it in. And that turn it in software will check for plagiarism. If you plagiarize, you're very on your own, because I think they'll give you like two chances. The third time, you have to defend your paper. I
Mm-hmm.
have to go to like a Senate board or situation and defend. And if you're found guilty, that's literally the end of your study. Like, you're going home. That's the end. Because it's literally frowned upon, and it's considered criminal to steal someone's work and pass it as your work. So I think that's another thing with the style of education.
But yeah, I think you, in terms of plagiarism as well, it's taken extremely seriously here. We use APA 7th edition for like our references, citations, basically to check like you have to follow APA 7th edition at most institutions. There are some schools that use maybe like Chicago, whatever MLA. I think Harvard has its own, but most institutions here use like APA 7th edition. And then some institutions like they have this software, you mentioned Turnitin. They have like other software as well that they kind of allow students, probably give students access to check their assignments before submitting. However, my institution, you just have to do your due diligence, and if you plagiarize, you're in trouble basically. I mean, I'm saying like you're in trouble. Of course, they'll give you chances. They'll be like, yeah,
Yeah,
if you don't cite something correctly,
yeah.
following the APA 7th edition, your professor will mark it down, maybe in the comments or something. You didn't follow this, you didn't cite this well.
Hmm.
Those are some of the things I had to pay attention to when I first got here. But at the same time, I think I got better at it. I got the APA textbook and everything, and I got
Yeah.
better at it.
I think practicing just makes you
Mm-hmm.
perfect at studying education. I think it was same when I got here to my school. They used Harvard.
Mm-hmm.
So, but every school with whatever they want to use. I don't know
Exactly.
what other schools use here in the UK, but mine was Harvard for
Yeah.
reference.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's one of the difference with the education, with the study style and education style. So another thing is, we're still talking about education quality and how studies, and that was the length. For me, why I picked the UK was the length of study.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in the UK, a master's degree is 1 year. However, it's tedious because that 1 year is literally like 9 months, because you give you 3 months for first semester, 3 months for second semester, and the third month you write your dissertation. So it's like it's hectic, it's tedious, the workload is much, but it's just 1 year. And this is good because for me, why I picked the UK was I was looking to do my PhD afterwards. So I was like, okay, if I just do my master's for 1 year, do my PhD for 3 years, that's literally 4 years. But if I had chosen America, I realized that it was like 2 years, PhD was like
Don't bring that one
five,
in.
7 years. I'm like, what? No, 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 no,
Just
no.
invest.
So that was another thing that informed my decision. However, because the length of study here is short, is quite
Mm.
tedious. But I mean, I actually prefer that to like 7, 9 years kind of situation that's combining PhD and like master. So that's another reason why I think the UK did it for me than America.
Okay. I see you decided to bring in the old 1 year, 3 years difference in, but nonetheless, actually, I think at first I thought most masters were actually 1 year, but after I started doing my search when I was getting ready to apply to schools and stuff, I was like, why do I have to, go to school for 2 years after spending 4 years? However, just taking a look at the curriculum, having to take like 48 credits throughout, I don't think I would have been able to take 48 credits in a year. My coursework was very rigorous. It was time, like literally, you had to read to go to class, you had to prep and everything. So I think considering the curriculum, I think that's another thing to like just put at the back of your mind.
Your
Every program
mind.
is different. There
Yeah.
was actually one of the schools that I was applying to, their masters was for a year, but you would take it like literally so many courses were compounded all into one, and it was a lot. And I was like, I'm not doing this. Plus, you're able to kind of gain a lot of experience. So like I could do like an internship. I was able to do an internship over the summer, to gain some experience and leverage on that, especially if you're applying to jobs as an international person. You want to be able to be like, yes, you have some experience here working in the US in this field and all. So I
Mm-hmm.
think for me, 2 years helps you kind of develop in a way. You study the lay of the land, you get acclimated with the system and
Not
everything. So,
rushed.
but if it was a year, literally, it's like it just speeds by fast, and you're like, what am
I'm
I
done.
doing? And you have to apply to jobs. That's if you want to stay back, and just that time period and everything. But I think for me, 2 years helps you think. It helps you figure out next steps.
Yeah. So like now, so if you're more like a 1 day kind of person, or
Mm-hmm.
you're more like an Esther kind of person, yeah, 1 day you just want to do it and just go. But if
Go.
you're an Esther person, I like to, let everything, like, receive everything slowly. I
Yeah.
think you would probably consider the US, because at
Yeah.
least you give you time to like take your credits and do what you have to
Mm-hmm.
do, not
Yeah.
just rush you. And so that's why I said you need to consider your personal circumstance. You need to consider what works best for you, not someone else. And then moving on to same thing, what works best for you is the admission requirements. Now in the UK, you can use WAEC as your proof of English. So you must not have less than a C6 for your WAEC. However, you can use other tests of English to prove that you were taught and you understand English and can speak English, because they need it, because obviously you'll be taught in English language. So they need to know if you can listen, write, and read in English language. So in the UK, they have something they call IELTS. So it's like test of English. You can write that to prove that you can speak English if you got less than a C6 in WAEC. So that's the good thing about like English requirements for the UK. I don't know how it is for the US. I know US, you guys have GMAT, GRA situation going on.
I mean, it ultimately depends on like what are you applying as a bachelor's, whatever, as an
No,
undergraduate
I
student
think we'll
or
stick with masters because we
masters.
both did a
Okay.
masters.
Yeah.
I think that's
So
the
with
same
masters, it depends though. Okay, let me backtrack because we do have a lot of admission requirements.
thing.
So I know for, I mean, transcripts. Let's start with transcripts now. You can send everything. Ultimately depends on the institution. Some will allow you to upload your like a copy of your transcript. Some will tell you to send it directly from your school, and some will tell you to evaluate your transcript using like a transcript evaluator. Is that something that is done in the UK? Do they ask you to
No,
evaluate
if
transcripts?
if no, if you can just prove that you got nothing less than a C6 in your WAEC, you're fine. You don't need all of those things.
Yes. So to get in, like you will probably need that. And then some of them actually do request like I don't think a lot of schools really for graduate students, like it was more for undergraduates that maybe they'll consider WAEC, and that's some schools, not all schools. But for graduate students,
They
it's more
don't.
like GRE or GMAT, and some don't require it. So once you have like a 3.0 GPA out of a 4, you're good to go. While some schools will tell you you need to write GRE is graduate record examination, or GMAT for like maybe accounting related or business related courses. So one of those two. And then TOEFL, which is TOEFL, that's how it's spelled, but typically we just call it TOEFL.
TOEFL, yeah, I
Um,
know what TOEFL.
yeah.
For UK, I think the admission requirements, from what we're
Mhm.
trying to say or from what we've said, is that the UK has more like a lower standard, sort of.
I mean, some schools waive TOEFL though. If you are from Nigeria, if you are from
Yeah,
like an English speaking country,
yeah,
some schools in the US
yeah.
waive it.
I think another point will bring us to the language. So, for instance, now I'm not the one to go and study in a country where they don't speak English. No, I'm not, because I cannot be in a country where you will not understand me. I will not understand you. I can't express myself. I don't understand what you are expressing. I mean, what am I looking for in the country? If it's for holiday, I'm fine to go for holiday. At least I know that if I use translator, it's just 2 days or 3 days and
Hmm.
I'm out. But I mean, I'm going to a country where I'll probably stay after my course of study. I've spent like a year. What am I looking for where they don't speak English? So UK was good for me because they speak English here in the UK. For those of you who don't know, the UK consists of 4 countries. It's kind of complicated. So we have England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. So in Wales, they have their own language, but English is still the universal language there. In Scotland, they speak Scots, but English is still the universal language. In England, they speak only English, but I mean people with different accents here in England. But so England was just fine for me because I know wherever I am in this UK, they will surely speak English. And that was something. I also considered when choosing my own study destination. I don't know, was language a barrier in choosing a study destination? Did you ever think of, okay,
Uh,
this
all I knew was that I could not go where they were not speaking English or French, and it's not like I know French, but you know, when I was like, in secondary school, I did French a bit, and I'm like,
Mhm.
yeah, I can rock it. Plus, I took some classes as well, but I it was really essential that I could also understand to an extent like whatever they were saying. And if I do choose to go to a country where they were not speaking English, at least the institution would, you know, it would teach classes in English, because there are some schools like even in Germany that do that. However, for me, I think it was kind of even a bit of a transition, just because in Nigeria, we use like British curriculum, and
Yeah,
even spellings and stuff, grammar, whatever we do, like it
but at
typically
times we used to
follows.
mix it though.
I know we mix it, but technically that's what we say.
Yeah,
Well,
that's what it should
it
be.
should be.
UK,
Yeah.
like British English.
Uh-huh. But when I came here to the US, so kind of was a bit of transition, because even when we write, follow the British spelling, mode of spelling, and everything. So I kind of had to, like, I don't know, just reorient myself, relearn, unlearn some things and learn some things again. And luckily, when I do assignments in Word, I set my spell checker to, like, the American English. That really helped me.
Yeah, I think I did same. So I
Mhm.
have Grammarly.
Yeah, Grammarly as well.
Yeah.
Yes, even the free version of Grammarly was helpful. And then I know there was a time, like, so just considering that, I think language for me was not. It was important. It was important, but not
But it
like
wasn't like a priority.
it wasn't a priority. But I knew I was going to come to the US anyway, so it was not like yeah.
So
But I
I
think
mean, if you're like, if someone out there is watching this and you don't mind if they are speaking any language, even if it's Yoruba they are speaking there, you don't
yeah,
mind.
hmm,
You're free to go to any country you like. So
yeah,
another thing I considered was actually opportunity. So now
mm,
in the UK before the 2 years post study visa was not there. It was just after 4 months. If you don't secure a job after 4 months, go home after your study. What are you looking for here? But now they introduced the 2 years post study visa. So it was a good one to pick the UK because at least I have the 2 years post study visa. Now the post study visa does not add to your um immigration route. So if you're applying for a PR or indefinite leave to remain towards citizenship, the post-study visa route or the post-study period will not count towards it. So it's just like a landing visa for 2 years for you to like, okay, proper settle down and look for a job that will sponsor your visa. So that was a good one because the 2 years post-study visa, at least I know people who have gotten jobs that is sponsoring their visa and they're on their way to like get their indefinite leave to remain because they're sponsoring them for like 5 years. Another thing was that in the UK, you have 20 hours of work during term time. So when you're studying, you have 20 hours of work. So you can work 20 hours a week when you're studying. However, when you're not studying, you can work unlimited hours. In short, you can work every day during your holiday and don't rest on your own. So that's another good thing. So the UK provides you the opportunity. So with that 20 hours of work, you can actually do like a paid internship or a non-paid internship and you can work anywhere, like anywhere. You're not restricted to maybe on campus job only or off campus job only. You can literally work anywhere. But the only thing again with the restriction on your visa is you're not entitled to benefits, like government benefits. No, you're not entitled to benefits. And you don't pay income tax if you're a student because you're not entitled to benefits. So why do you pay income tax? So,
okay.
yeah, you
Oh
don't pay, well,
my
yeah,
gosh!
you don't pay income tax. So that's another
Wow.
good thing with the opportunity that the UK provides you as a student. So I don't know how is it in the US. Do you have like a period where you can work? Do you pay
Yeah.
tax and stuff like that?
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. First of all, that income tax one that you said last there, I'm like, wait, you don't pay income tax as a
Nope.
student.
No, you don't.
Wow.
When you are studying, you don't. But after your studies, you would have to pay income tax.
See, if you are working here, every single thing is taxed. If you are working, you pay that tax. They'll take it out of your paycheck before it even gets to you. I think that was one of the things that even literally shook me to my bones. And I was like, what is this? Like, I got my first paycheck, and then I'm like, wait, am I working for the government? But okay, let me concentrate, okay? So, as a student, You can work 20 hours while classes are in session on campus. So you cannot work off campus unless you get an exemption that you have to file for. And that exemption has to be something that is like hardship related. So while classes are in session, you have to work on campus for 20 hours a week, okay, 20 hours per week. However, when during holidays or over the summer, winter break, whatever, any holiday basically, you can work 40 hours off campus. And that off campus, if you do choose to work off campus, that's to be related to like what you're doing. But on
So
campus,
there's some restrictions on you working as a student.
yeah, basically there's some restrictions on you working as a student. For instance, now when I was working like over the summer, I had to use what we call CPT, like some curriculum practicum training, to work off campus. But what I did, it has to be related to my field of study. Basically, the work I'm going to do, it has to be related to my field of study off campus. But if it's on campus, you can work anywhere, even if it's in the library, like whatever. It doesn't have to be related on campus. But as long as once you decide to work off campus, it has to be related to like your field of study and like you're
Oh.
gaining experience and all that.
So when I did my first master's degree, right, I was actually working as a cake decorator and I was doing something in business. So it wasn't tallying at all because I actually like baking, decorating cake. So I just went with that because cake decorating, I was creative. It was something I like, comes natural. I have the skills even before I came to the UK. So I just went to become a cake decorator. So it wasn't tallying. So that means if I was in the US, I probably would not be able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, that if you see someone doing that, that means that person is not doing something right, basically. They're not doing something right because like there are so many restrictions here. But like
Yeah.
after you're done, like you can stay for 1 year or 3 years. So you can stay. They call it OPT, optional practicum training. I think like,
Yeah.
but it's typically called OPT. Which if you're in a non-STEM degree, you can stay back to work for a year and maybe look for a company that sponsors for like H1B work visa and they can sponsor you. However, if you're in a STEM related degree, STEM designated degree, you can stay behind for up to 3 years. You get what they call STEM OPT extension, whereby you can stay back in the US to work for like up to 3 years. So I think there's a lot of opportunities here because this is a very huge country. Like there's just so many opportunities here in the US. And I think that was one of the
Yeah.
things that made it stand out for me. Like just those opportunities to kind of
Yeah, but are students entitled to benefits like government benefits in the US?
no, basically, I think even generally, like as a non-citizen, it's just you're not entitled to
Yeah,
you
I
still
think
pay
so.
taxes,
Yeah,
but
you
you're not
still pay
entitled
taxes here
to
in the UK for your
those.
work. If
Mm-hmm.
you're on a work visa in the UK, you still pay
Yeah,
tax on your income for a
yeah.
work visa, but you're not entitled to benefits.
So,
And I think that's unfair,
mm,
sort of.
my question though, one quick question before. So, I mean, let's say when you were working as a cake decorator, they were not like there was no tax, like they were not
No,
taking taxes out of your paycheck.
nope, they weren't. Throughout when I was on a student visa, as long as you're
Mm-hmm.
on a student visa, you don't pay income tax.
Wow, even as a
So
graduate
all the
assistant.
money was just coming to my pockets.
Oh, that's nice. I'm jealous now, even though I'm done with school.
So, but another thing I liked with the UK was the transportation. Like, if I don't need to use taxi, I don't use taxi. Like, I don't, because the transport system is good. Like, there's different bus stop. Like, for instance, where I stay in the UK, that's in Manchester. The bus literally comes every 5 minutes. In short, the bus can even come every 2 minutes, depending on which area you are. If you're in the city center or things like that. So the transport system is good. Like in the UK, you can literally travel from England to Scotland as a whole different country with the train. Like you go with the train. And the train system is good because Wales, Scotland, and England, you can go from any other state to any other city with the train system. You can drive around. I think the bus is actually good. The transport system here is good. Like you just need to Google, okay, when is the bus coming? And just go. Like the bus, it might not even Google, just go and stand at the bus stop. If you know where you're going to, the bus come and meet you there. So it saves you money on transportation. Students here in the UK, they have access to discounts on travel passes. So I don't know if they have something like that in the US.
Okay, let me start by saying I think it ultimately depends on like your location, the city you're in. If you're in a bubbly place like maybe Chicago, New York City, like you can easily get around there with like buses and maybe like trains and stuff. However, if you're in a place like maybe where I studied, Kent, Ohio, transportation is probably going to be a little bit more difficult for you. Were there buses that were free to students? Yes, there were buses, but those buses only take you like to classes, and then there were some around like the city. So a lot of things I did was online. If I even when I wanted to go like to the store, Walmart, shopping, I literally asked for help. Luckily I had a great boss who was very understanding, and he'd be like, "Oh, I see, you need to get something." I'm like, "Yeah, sure, take me there." And then like yeah, or I ordered things. So I downloaded this Walmart shopping app where I will order things, and luckily
And
I
they
had
send it
like
to
a
you online.
free, we look for all those freebies here and there to kind of buy some things, free delivery at some point.
So transportation is not like as smooth as the
Yeah,
UK. Your transport system is quite good.
it's
I would
not as smooth, but like some cities, it's really smooth and easy for you to get around. And then if you're a student, you get once you have your ID card, you can like just use the bus for
say.
free. But
Yeah. I think the next one we'll talk about is like healthcare. Now, this was the cherry on the cake for me for choosing the UK
mm,
because I needed access to good and potentially free medical healthcare. I cannot come and check this. I cannot. So, like picking the UK, this was important. So, in the UK, they have this thing called the health surcharge. Now, the health surcharge for students, I think, is about £720 per year. Now, if your course of study is for 2 years, that means you have to pay £1,440 for your 2 years of study. So what will happen is that you would pay that health surcharge with your visa fee. So before you even come to the UK, you have to pay the health surcharge. If your visa is denied, they would actually refund your health surcharge money back to you, but they won't refund your visa money back to you. Now, after paying the health surcharge and you come to the UK, you can literally use the public service. So it's called the NHS for free, like surgery, give you blood, anything for free. If you're not feeling fine, you go there for free. The only thing you can use for free is the dental services. But now, if the dental services you need, or maybe dental medicals you need, affects your health, your overall health, and it can cause damage to your health, they would actually see you for free. But if it's for maybe braces and all of those things, no, you would have to pay for it. And if it's for plastic surgery that has nothing to do with your health, you just want to, look more vain, you would have to pay for that. But every other thing is literally free after you pay that health surcharge. That was one of my considerations for picking the UK, literally.
okay. Can I? Okay, I'll just go ahead and because I feel like sometimes I'm jealous of those who live in the UK just because of that. So when I was doing my school search and all, I don't think I guess I was kind of deceived a little bit by whatever happens in the movie, and I didn't realize that healthcare in the US, although it's good, right? The healthcare system is good, but is it affordable? Let me talk, okay? I don't know. I don't have the answer to that because yes, you pay for insurance. However, there's some things like deductibles, like copay and all that you still have to pay out of pocket. So, for example, let's just say I went to the doctor for like maybe I was not feeling too well, like go to the hospital and stuff like that. I still pay even if it's as low. When I was a student, there were sometimes I'll go and I'll still get like a $50 like charge as copay, whatever, like my health, what my health insurance does not cover. And there
Oh,
was even a time that I went to the hospital for like something more serious, and literally, if I didn't have a very good insurance, which is one thing you have to be careful about, like if your school asks you, of course, schools require students to have insurance here in the US, health insurance. However, the I don't know the right terminology. However, like the coverage is different depending on the insurance you use. We have so many health insurances here, and some of them might not cover what you need them to cover. And that's why sometimes you see here, like in the movies, don't get the deceived, like, oh, somebody falls sick, ambulance comes immediately, they go. Well, I mean, I work with students, and many of them, even when they're not feeling fine, some of them don't just want to use, they don't want the ambulance to take them because they are scared of getting into debt, even though they have insurance, because there are some things that insurance don't
just
cover.
not
So you
cover.
have to do your research very well. Whatever health insurance you do, choose to go for. Although most schools already would opt in for an health, like a health insurance for you, just because they want you to be secure.
Mm.
Um, it can be expensive because you still have to pay some out of pocket cost, some weird things like that you don't even expect. Child, like, I'm not going to, when I'm very passionate when it comes to health insurance, and yeah,
Yeah,
because
so
yeah.
how much like a typical health insurance for a student in the US, how much will it cost?
Um, so every school is different. I've seen from $350 all the way up to like 2,100, like $2,100. When I paid my health insurance, it was around like, so I guess I was 700. The school was covering, so I'm trying to make calculations here. It was like 1,800 at the time, but one of my friend, her health insurance is like $2,200, so like $2,200, and just those they do have a lot of coverage. They cover a lot. They don't cover dental. Dental insurance is different. And like you
Yeah,
mentioned, like, if you want
yeah,
to do some cosmetic changes, nah, it doesn't cover that. But you still will have to pay some out of pocket
out of
costs
pocket
here and
money.
there, even for like medications. Maybe like they
Yeah.
give you medications, you still have to cover some. So it
I,
depends
I,
on the
yeah,
insurance.
I think this just boils down to what really works for you. Like, if you're
Mm-hmm.
someone who have underlying medical condition, I would suggest you strongly like sit down to understand the healthcare system, because you don't want to need hospital services and then you can't get the sale.
Mm-mm.
And healthcare don't come cheap in the Western world, to be very
They
honest.
do not.
They don't come cheap. Like, it can be really expensive. So that's why I said choosing a study destination, you really need to consider your circumstances and what
Yeah.
will really, really work well for you, like as a person. Now, speaking of money and Jegbese, let's talk about the currency. Like in the UK, we use pounds and Great British pounds sterling, and it's quite strong. I mean,
Mm.
I think as of today, when we are filming this video, £1 is about 770 naira to
Oof.
780 naira for parallel market. That's the black markets that we all know. That's the BDC. So I think that the currency is strong. And if you're earning here and you want to do a bond for somebody in Nigeria, I mean, all you need to do is just look for £100. That's like a day pay or a day and a half pay, and that'll be like 70K plus to do egg bond. So that's another good thing. Like, the currency is good. So basically it reflects that the economy is quite strong.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's the only thing I can say about currency, because as a student, to be honest, the currency being good is not good for you paying your tuition fee anyway, even though you're using from it. But yeah, if you're here and you're earning here, I mean, it can really subsidize your cost of living.
Yeah.
And the minimum wage is quite good, because here we have a minimum wage in the UK, and it's quite good because I don't think you can work as a student to pay your tuition fee, but I think you can work as a student to survive, like just maintain yourself, like buy clothes, transportation, food, even
Mhm.
pay your rent. You can work as students to pay your rent. Can students actually work to like probably pay rent, food, and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think here, even generally, a lot of students are like work. I think it's just like an unsaid thing that students will just work just to kind of sustain themselves, like get some living expenses covered. And
Yeah,
then I think the currency is also quite strong. It actually controls a lot of other currencies across
currencies,
the
yeah.
world.
I
So
think Naira is not pegged to the dollar.
yeah, it is typically like once that's what most people compare it to. You can work here to just do some general maintenance. But like you also said, like if you think you are going to work on campus and pay your tuition, nah, it's not going to
Yeah,
work because it's a lot of money.
yeah, it's a
Um,
lot of money.
yeah.
Yeah, I think speaking of money, so the
Oh yeah.
financial benefits of studying here in the UK is that, like we said, the cost of studying in the UK is just 1 year. So if you're paying your tuition fee, you just have to consider 1 year tuition fee, probably £20,000, £15,000, £10,000, depending on what your tuition fee is. You just pay it once. But I'm thinking in the US, since people have, a very longer course of studies, the money to loan.
Oh my goodness. I don't know. I mean, it depends on your
And again,
school.
UK now, they have actually some universities in the UK can be generous if you consider yourself a talented student, like you're gifted, academically gifted. So they call it academic excellence. So most universities don't say it, but once they notice academic excellence in your CV, they will probably offer you 40%, 50%, 60% off your tuition fee. So I think that's one of the unsaid benefits. So I don't know for US, considering the time is long and the money to be long.
I mean, I think in the US though, there are so many opportunities, funding opportunities.
Financial benefits.
Yes, so many, like full tuition, even some are not even academic related, like maybe leadership related, or like for graduate student, like graduate assistantships, where you work in exchange for like some tuition coverage. Some will cover full, some will cover partial, and then you still get a stipend as well. Because that was how I was able to cover my fund
Tuition.
my education. Like I had full tuition covered, and I was still
Oh
getting
wow.
stipend, like meal plan and housing, all that covered, which was really nice. And I didn't really have to pay much, and some schools will even cover your health insurance if you're a graduate assistant as well. And some graduate assistantships really consider like maybe your academic prowess, like how good you are, and some they consider the whole, like your whole
CV or
yeah.
experience.
So maybe you do not really do well in school, and then you scale through the interview. Maybe you interview,
Yeah.
you did really good. They will consider you, or maybe like you've had some extra work experience. So it really depends
Yeah.
on the type of assistantship. Like, and assistantships are not just like left to like research and teaching. Some of them actually are like administrative related, where you work for like all the student support services office, like maybe like a library, or maybe like a counseling centers and
Yeah.
all that. So yeah,
So they're quite there's at least financial benefit is there, but now
it's
because
expensive though.
of yeah, I think studying in the US is quite pricier than studying here
Yeah,
in the UK.
yeah, I
Yeah,
think
I
so too.
think so
If you're paying out of pocket, it's actually probably more expensive unless you
too.
go to a low paying school, or a school that like probably has low tuition, like maybe $3,000 per semester, which is
Mm,
rare, very rare.
Anyways, still speaking on money and all these economics things. Now let's move on to like the government, like information from the government now. So now in the UK, we have universal law. The law in London is the same thing as the law in Manchester. There is no in-state law, out-state law, although they have like council laws that are different because obviously each residential area is different from another residential area. So those ones are kind of different. But that one, it just matters because you are you're living there, so obviously your council is different from the council in London. If you go to London and you're living in Manchester, you're just going for holiday and you come back, right? And so the law is the same thing whether you're anywhere within this UK. The law is kind of universal. And another thing I like about the UK is there's this website they have. It's called gov.uk. That website is the OG website. Whatever you're looking for from the government, just go to that website. You shall find it there. Like there was a time I misplaced my BRP, so that's my resident permit. And I just went to the website. I was like, misplaced my resident permit. In short, there was already Q&A. Resident permit, if you misplace it, what to do. I did everything on the website, went for my appointment. Within 5 to 7 working days, I got a new one. That website is universal everywhere in the UK. That's where you apply for visa. If you want to complain. In short, there was one time I even got messages from all these scrupulous scammers. Yes, there's scammers too in the UK. People that think UK, all these Western world, they don't have scammers. Scammers come be oh poor dada. They were saying, I didn't pay my tax and everything. And I'm like, I'm a student. I literally messaged like the government, like the tax people. There's a name they call it. I can't remember now. So I messaged. I was like, I screenshot it and I sent it to them in the mail. And I sent me a message that I should not worry. Anytime the number come, I should just block it. That I'm not doing anything wrong. So that website is the OG website. You can communicate to the government from that website and it'll be fine. Another thing I like again with the UK, still on government formation and the law, is that it's friendly and just. You can easily get information. Like I mean, like I just explained. So that's another thing I like. I don't want the one where they're like 1 million, or I cannot cough like this. I've committed a crime or a sin, or so that was one of the things I considered before choosing the UK because I don't have the mind to shout. So
Mm.
how is it like? Is this something you considered at all? How is it like in the US?
Nah, I do not consider it at all. First of all, for me, like, although I know that when I was about to study, I had to like search for information in a lot of places, and even after I got here, I discovered that even things are even more complex. But first of all, even when applying, I had to go to like maybe this ustraveldocs.com to get some information about applying for the visa. And then I had to go to one fmjfee.com website to pay my service fee. And then, you have to go to GT Bank to pay like your visa fee. And all this information are kind of like maybe like on two different websites. Of course, that US Travel Docs had like standard
Yeah,
information, but you to
yeah,
pay to do some things, you still have to go to all these others like sub websites as well. And then even after I got here, I discovered that like every state has its own law. Like even in terms of like maybe to get a driver's license, it differs by state the process. So, yeah, see it, but
I
it's
can't deal in that kind of society. Me, I'm coming from Nigeria where we don't have anything. Or now go to another country where they have a lot. No, I like it. It's just one website,
yeah, yeah,
gov.uk.
different website. I know for
Perfect
immigration though.
website.
Like for immigration though, like there's a main website is USCIS. That all those information is there, but at
Yeah,
the same time there's still this other like sub websites, maybe
yeah, yeah.
DHS that you have to like get some additional information.
Oh my
But for all the things immigration, USCIS is the website, but there are still other sub websites that you have to navigate. It can be it can
But
be complex.
gov.uk, whatever you want to do, government information, and the interface is perfect. You can fill a form of 100 pages and you not need just fill a form of 100 because it's just, did you do this? No. So if you don't do this, click this. I really like that website.
That's
That
so
website is
nice.
my best friend. Any information like if someone tell me something, 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 I'll say, okay, I've had. I'll just go to that website. So the website will just tell me everything. I'm like, okay, it's wrong, it's right, it's that website. If you're a student in the UK, I would, or you're planning to come to the UK, please, word of mouth should not be your source. Gov.uk, ultimate website for like getting information about UK laws, BRP, visa, everything. Even all the ministries have they're on that website. Yeah,
That's
their
nice.
website is on that website.
That's so nice.
Yeah, I think that's another thing. So another thing is the culture. Now in the UK, there's this quiet, unsaid culture of politeness. Now, they might not like you, but they'll be polite to you. They will smile to you. They will treat you well. Everybody's a good human being in this UK. You don't need to like me, but be a good person to me. I think that's one of the things I like. I didn't know this, but coming here and realizing this, I mean, it made me like the UK more because I didn't know this. But everybody's polite. You might not like me, I might not like you, but we'll be civil and polite to each other. We'll smile at each other. You see somebody on the person will not, the person will tell you, you see that is. So we are polite to ourselves. We are very polite. Like when we go out, if you're the one going, whether you're a female or a male, as long as you're the first person, you hold the door for the other person to pass. We are civil in this country, and I love that about us. And again, there's this do it yourself culture. Now in the UK, you have to do the hairstyles of yourself, the seamstress of yourself. You have to know how to do everything. Just you will multi-talented maybe you come to this country. If not, you will check the same because you'll be paying people minimum wage to do basic things for you, which you don't want. So I don't know, is that the same thing
Hmm.
in the US?
So I think for the US, it's kind of like
Yeah, and the yes have this tipping thing. I don't understand that, but yeah, we don't tip.
tipping. Yeah, I guess it's just something unsaid that you just tip. Like maybe you go out to a restaurant, you tip. Somebody delivers something to you, you tip them. Like even on all this Grubhub, Uber Eats, whatever we use, all these apps, like they still will. You want to tip this person, like, and then at first I did not used to tip when I get here. Like maybe I go out with friends and they go, everybody's like signing tip, signing total. Like they will even put it on your bill for you, tip. I did not like I just used to put 000, and then there was one day we went as a large group, and was like one of my friends saw the car, and she was like, "Wait, what? You did not tip?" I'm like, "No, I did not." And then she and then she started telling me all that, and I'm like, "Wait, like that commit a crime?" But I think it's just something that is said and unsaid that you should tip. But I personally think maybe like those that are hiring people should actually be paying them like
Yeah,
living wages, not enough waiting
not
for
you guys tipping them.
like for them to like yeah. But
Mm.
that's a story for another day. But now I tip though. I tip a lot now. So then I think in terms of like I think there's a lot of individualistic culture here. Like you're expected to kind of figure things out yourself, do things yourself. There's really no community per se to kind of support, that Nigerian feeling of community in Nigeria that we have. Like, there's a lot of individualism here, and you have to figure things out yourself most of the times, unless you're in like a different location. I think it also always boils down to like location, like maybe people you are surrounded with. I'm talking about politeness. I don't know if that's like the general culture here, but at the same time, when I first got here, a lot of people used to smile,
Oh,
just
it
walking by
depends.
the road. But
It
I don't know
depends.
if that would necessarily mean that they love you. Your car will break down, everybody will pass. Call your insurance.
I know UK, there's this kind of like, people would help you. Like
Mm-hmm.
in the UK, we are very civil people. To be honest, we're civil, we're polite. We might not like each other, but we're polite to each other. If your shoe, there was one time I was out with someone and his shoe was kind of teary or something. And someone like, oh, your shoe is not, oh, do your shoelace, we're very polite. If you need help, they'll ask you. If you're coming down from the bus, they can ask you, maybe you're pushing a pram or something, do you want me to help you? Like, we might not like each other, remember, but we will be polite and civil to one another. But if you not choose to be very stupid and do something that pass someone's capacity, they will show you pepper. Yeah. So that's just it. But yeah, that's what I like with this culture. I think still talking about culture, let's talk about diversity. Now, the UK is multicultural and is inclusive. There's this thing where they try to include everybody, no
Mm-hmm.
matter your race, your religion. They just try to include everybody. And at times it might be good, and at times it might be very bad, depending
Yeah.
on who you ask. But there's this, they try to include everybody as much as they can. They don't discriminate. They don't. They do and they don't sort of situation. And again, it's a multicultural place. And you see a lot of people from Asia, Africa, America, Australia, like we're all in one pot and we're all being polite and civil with one another. But yeah, I think that's one thing I like about the UK too. But not everywhere in the UK is that diverse though.
Mm-hmm.
Not everywhere, depending on where you are. But most places in the UK is diverse. Even if they're not that diverse, at least you see one or two people that looks like you or do not look like the people that owns the land sort of situation. Yeah.
Yeah, I think everything you even said about the UK kind of applies to the US as well. It's quite diverse. They try to kind of promote inclusivity, but like you said, it also depends on your location. And they have some of these things that they call like PWIs, like um predominantly white institutions here in the US, but it's not like you won't still see people like you to an extent. It might
Yeah.
not be a lot, but you still see like maybe five other Nigerians, like other cultures, and because
Yeah.
there's so many international students in every institution. But at the same time, like, it's a very diverse nation. As a nation, it is diverse, but like
Diverse
you said, location also determines like the extent of the
of
diversity.
diversity.
But inclusivity is like a topic that is really hammered on here. But at the same time, based on what we see in the news, there's still some sort of like, discrimination that happens, people, bias, microaggression.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think just kind of read up on some things, ensure that you check out the location you're going to, because you don't want to go to somewhere and then just regret going
Mm-hmm.
to that
I
place.
think, and again, it still boils down to the law of where you're going to. Like, you need to be sure because you're going to a different place. So you need to be sure how protected you are because
Hmm.
obviously they're not creating their law to protect you as a foreigner. They're creating it
Yeah.
to protect their citizen. But you need to be sure that in one way or the other, you're also protected. So if you choose any sort of destination in the world, you need to be sure that you're protected to some extent, not the one that you just disappear and nobody will know where you are. But like you just need to be sure that you're protected to some extent. Now, still speaking on diversity, inclusion, and the culture and everything, the time zone. One thing with the UK is right now we are in a time zone called British Summer Time. So it's kind of the same thing with Nigerian time. So we use I think GMT plus one. That's our time zone here in the UK. So but during winter, because it's dark, we are always 1 hour behind Nigerian time, like we're 1 hour behind. So
Yeah.
it's kind of the same thing. So you probably won't feel that, will I say, difference or that culture shock too much when it comes to time zones because you're kind of in the same time zone. You might just be depending on the time of the year. So if it's summer, you probably be in the same time zone with Nigeria. If it's spring, the same time zone. But if it's late autumn and winter time, you probably would be in different time zone in Nigeria. So it'd be 1 hour behind. So it's just 1 hour. So it's not nothing different as much.
Okay, so
I
what
know
do I say about the US?
US
We have so many time
time
zones.
zones.
It's
I
a
think
very,
it's a big country.
yeah.
I think
You
you
have
guys have like 50 states.
exactly. Mm-hmm. So imagine
It's just an island.
exactly. Like, I feel like the size. If you want to know the size of both countries, just check your map. You will see. Or Google. We have like EST. I mean an EST time zone. There's CST, which is like an hour behind my time. There's MST, which is like 3 hours behind my time. See, I'm not even sure anymore. Like there's this PST, MST, I don't even know. We just have so many STs basically.
Yeah.
So I know when I was in Arizona, Arizona was like 3 hours behind Ohio. And when I was in Oklahoma was like 1 hour behind Ohio. So there's even like time difference even within the country. And then there's what they call like daylight savings. I think same thing that y'all do, like maybe during the winter and all that. They also
Hmm.
have that year in a lot of states as well. So it also ultimately depends on your region. But I think for time zone, very time zone.
You guys are diverse. Your
Yeah,
diversity extended to the
to the
time
time
zone.
zone, right?
So
Yeah.
I think for UK it's just one time zone everywhere you are here in the UK. But the thing is with the daylight stuff is because during summer it gets dark late, and during winter it gets dark early. So they need more nights, so they would add 1 hour, and they need more day during winter, so they would subtract 1 hour. I don't know how Google will just automatically update your
Yeah,
time for you.
it's
So please
automatic.
don't use analog timer. If not, you might be missing classes. Try to use Google Timer so that when the time is changing, you don't need to be calculating it. You just know that the time has changed when you check
Right.
your phone. So, as speaking on timing, I think this will bring us to our last point, which is the weather. Now,
Mm.
we used to make this joke that UK weather is a female because very unstable weather, very, very unstable weather. It can be, it can be summer, and you ask UK, did you get the memo? Because it can be raining, or it can even like it can be snow in spring, and be like, didn't you get the memo? It's spring. Things are meant to be springing up, not cold and rainy. And but the thing is, the UK weather, I think what I can compare it with is Canada's weather.
Mm.
UK weather is not as cold as Canada. Like we hardly reach minus. I think the worst that can happen is 0 degrees, and that's if you are in the northwest region and it's always raining. So you can go out and be like, oh, sun kiss, sun, I'm going out or something like that. And you just step out, and 2 hours later you just see rain, and you be like, wait. And it can be raining now, and you just step out and maybe be like, oh, okay, I'll just sleep in, and you just turn. I'm like, son, like UK weather is very, very unstable. Like most times it's always raining. Most of the times in the UK it's always raining, but it's not as cold as Canada. So if you're someone that you don't like cold, I think maybe that's something you should consider. If you're someone that you like summer body, summer everything, summer, nah,
Summer.
the summer year is just like maybe 2 weeks. Yeah, I think that's just the thing with the weather. But the weather is usually universal, to be honest.
Mm.
Just yeah.
See, I don't even know what to say because the weather is like chameleon. It's ever changing here. Because it also depends on the state you're in as well. Like there's some states that they're just so hot and they don't even there's even no like it doesn't snow in those in certain parts of the state.
Really?
Yeah. Like there's some parts of like maybe California, Arizona that I mean when I was in Arizona where I was, it snows. However, I think in Phoenix, if I remember correctly, okay, I might be wrong. It does not. So it could be snowing here and it's not snowing there in the same state though. And even like I know even here as well. So like one of my friends that was in Kenya, she was like, "Oh my gosh, it's snowing!" And here I am in another city, and literally it wasn't snowing. I'm like, "Oh, sorry, darling." I mean, it was cold, but it wasn't
But it wasn't
snowing.
snowing.
Yeah, but like even there's various like seasons. You know, we have winter, we have fall, we have summer, we have spring. Every like I think every state is even different. Some states are similar. It also depends on if you are closer to like maybe like water surrounds you or something. There's something that they call the lake effect, and
Yeah.
it will determine like how cold are
How
you.
cold or how
Mm-hmm.
warm it's going to
Yeah,
be.
but I don't know if the weather It depends. If you're somebody that you like, so like a place that's literally very odd, literally maybe just find go to Texas. It doesn't snow there. I mean, they experienced a bit of ice. They were calling it snow, but for me, I was like, nah, this is not snow. People like come to Ohio and know the real snow, and then like because literally they were like, oh, this snowing, but not
I
the
think another thing with UK is, so in the UK, their rain, what as a Nigerian, what you will consider rain in the
mm-hmm.
UK is not rain. Because I feel it's drizzling, but one thing is when that drizzle starts, everywhere will
Yeah,
just be wet and kind of flooded. And I'm like,
that's,
come, what we call drizzle in Nigeria is what they call rain here. Like the
yeah.
rain we have experienced in Nigeria, I don't,
Mm-hmm.
if they experience in this UK, all of us will wash away. Because
Oh my
it's
gosh.
just a very light rain and you just everywhere's already wet. And I'm like, the first time was when I was like, oh, it's drizzling. Someone said, no, it's not drizzling, it's raining. I'm like, wait. That's when I first got I'm like, this is rain. Like, it does not rain more than this in this UK. Say, no, it does not rain more than I say, you people come to Nigeria. Where rain will fall like this,
Mhm.
2 hours, even up to 2 days, rain will be falling consistently,
Oh my
thunder and
gosh.
everything. But the only thing with the UK is the UK can be windy. That wind there can carry you away if you
Yeah.
are not careful. I think that's the only. So I think the weather difference compared to Nigeria, you would feel like yes, you've changed environment because of the
Yeah.
weather. I think it's similar. So this brings us to our 1 million naira question. No, $1 million or £1 million question, please, because
Uh-uh.
naira does not value enough.
True.
So this brings us to our £1 million question or our $1 million question. So
Yeah.
knowing all what we know now, what we'll discuss. So I'll let you go first. Would you pick the UK if you were to choose another study destination?
Hmm.
Now, from your own personal circumstances, when you look at your personal circumstances, why you really chose the US
Yeah.
and all what we said, would you pick the UK? Knowing what you know now.
Nah.
You will still pick the US.
I'll still pick the US because, like, I think my motivating factor was very strong. So there was no way I would have gone to the UK. No way at all. Like,
So
even
can you highlight from what we said are your
yeah.
motivating, did we discuss some of your motivating factors and can you like
So
highlight it?
I mean, I think the educational system, like maybe in terms of education, like I mentioned earlier, like my course of study, like it was just the US is just like UK, just one university at the time. I don't know if more offering it now was
No.
offering that student affairs focus, and I really wanted that student focus, and it was literally it was in abundance in the US. So like I think that was I and also like familial relationship as well. Like I wanted a support system, and
Oh,
I
which
have
you had
that here.
in the
Uh huh.
US.
Not that I had it. I mean, none of my family was where I went to. However, I knew that if at least I pick up the phone, someone would fly down at least to one person would, to assist. So I
You
think
had like family ties. Yeah.
yes, I have family ties here, and that was one of my motivating factors. So that's why I said, like, in terms of my motivating factors, it was very strong, and
Yeah.
I don't think I would have picked the UK. Plus funding opportunities, it was more difficult at first. I kind of actually started. I consider UK schools right, but at the same time, it was a bit more
Fun.
difficult for me to get funding, um, in the UK, especially when you compare to the US, where like there's a lot of
Yeah.
opportunities that is not even solely based on your academic performance.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think those were some of the things like
You considered.
yeah, those were my main this and opportunities like opportunity, the academics and
Yeah.
familial
So,
relationships.
she has answered the $1 million question. She won't have it any
I'm
other.
jealous though. Healthcare, I'm still jealous. That's the taxes, I'm still jealous. But
So
nonetheless,
for me now, if I knowing what I know,
yeah.
will I still pick the US or will I pick the UK? I think I would have still picked UK to be very honest,
Okay.
because some of the things that made me choose the UK, to be very honest, was one of the health, because I have an underlying health condition where I need medical treatment. I need access to good and not debts putting, not something that will put me in debt. So I needed medical care, and that was one of the things I considered. So the medical care was like a motivating factor for choosing the UK, because I know if I come here and I pay the health surcharge fee, I should be fine. And another thing was the university I went to was, to be honest, I always brag about that was like my brag sheet, was
Okay.
like one of the best. Like when you count 1 to 10, you count one university.
Yeah.
And at the time, so the course I chose was, like I said, one of my professors was the one that pioneers the conversation around work, technology, and organizational change. And he's a lecturer in that university. So why wouldn't I want to go to that university and, someone who speaks in various engagements, written different textbook. Like, I mean, if you're talking about that topic, you have to mention him. So I think that was another motivating factor. And I think for me, the UK being an English speaking country was also one of my cause. And the law, I'm very keen on not getting into trouble. Like, I don't want to. I've had horror stories of master students being treated unfairly in some countries, and I'm like, hell no. Like, if you need financial aid, like she said, there are some schools in the US that would offer you like full tuition fee, like you don't have to pay tuition, they even give you stipend, stipend and things like that. And I think the UK is hard to get something like that. So I think at the end of the day, you just have to weigh your personal circumstances. And she had family ties. I don't have much family ties in America. I do in the UK. So you just have to know what works best for you or what will work best for you. Because at the end of the day, if you're trying to jackpot through education, you have to strategize in a way that when you jackpot, you don't jackpot.
I like that. I had to steal
so,
that from school.
so yeah, it's true now. I need to consider what works for you, not what works for Mr. B. So put your comments. Let's know your thoughts. If you
Mm-hmm.
want to know more about studying in America, just go to Esther's channel. I mean, she has a whole lot of videos about that. And if you want to know more about studying in the UK, you can stay in pathway to UK and know more about it. So I wish you guys all the very best in choosing your study
Mm-hmm.
destination. And I hope this just helped you. Please remember to do your due diligence research and know what works best for you. And with this, we've come to the end of today's video. Do not forget to share this video with someone you
Sure.
think will find it helpful. Bye for now, and we'll see you in our channel.
Bye.